Simplified Chaos, episode 175.
Life is beautiful and full of chaos.
And it can get slightly out of hand if that shit's not tamed.
We're here to share how to simplify the little things to help you lead a more intentional life.
This is Simplified Chaos.
Hey everybody, welcome to Simplified Chaos. This is Jillian and I'm with my husband and co-host, always, Nicholas.
What's going on, folks? We hope you all are having an amazing week. We've got another great episode here for you today. Jilly, we're going to be doing some more simplification. What are we simplifying?
Today we're diving deep into the nitty-gritty of the kitchen.
We're going to simplify the kitchen today.
We'll try to be concise about it because the kitchen it's a juicy part of the home.
It is. That's where a lot of the juices get flown.
I don't really know what that means.
I don't either. I was thinking of juicers.
Oh, sure you were.
Yeah. But before we dive into that, as always, we love to show a little gratitude before we get started. So, Jilly, what are you grateful for this week?
I am grateful for open space in our days.
Yeah.
Today was freaking magical. Let's see, today's Tuesday. I had one plan today with Lucille, and I was like, we're going to go to the library, got some books to return, maybe do a craft, you can hang out and, see how the day unfolds. And I messaged my friend that I met here in Charlottesville, and I told her how excited I was that I just invested in a planner for homeschooling, and I just sent her a message saying, hey, miss you, hope to see you soon. And she was like, what are you doing today? I really would love to go for a hike in the Shenandoah Park. And I was like, yes, today is fantastic. Let's go. She picked a trail. We met at her house after the library. We all packed up in her minivan because she's got 3 little kiddos. And we had the most epic day. We were outside for like 3 hours on the trail, just, exploring and stopping and climbing and finding all kinds of insects and trees. And then we get to the top and have these gorgeous views of the mountains. And then we come down and head back to her house. And before I know it, I'm like, holy crap, it's 5 o'clock. So time just like flew by and the kids just got along. I feel like kids just really flourish when they're outside, no matter what. So there's like way less parenting because it's like there's so much outside to explore. It's like there's no real issues unless someone gets hurt, Oh,
yeah.
But it was just like really good conversation. Kids just having a ball outside, me being a little kid flourishing outside. It was an epic day, and I'm just grateful for open space in our days to allow spontaneity and really awesome adventures with friends we know and love.
Yeah, part of the benefit of unschooling.
Yes, it's so epic that we just get to create the rhythms and schedule that we want that fits our needs and desires and values. And this is like a great reminder to keep doing what we're doing and purge the bullshit getting in the way so we can do more of these epic things that just kind of unfold and, man, just really fill my cup immensely.
Your cup is full.
My cup is full. What about you, Nick?
I'm grateful for being home for more than a week.
You did a lot of traveling before.
I feel like since Labor Day weekend, I've been traveling, I wouldn't say almost nonstop, but I know I haven't been at home for more than, I think, 5 days, maybe a 7-day stretch at most. And we were actually going to head back to Maryland this past weekend to greet our brand new baby niece. However, we hit the pause button and we'll be making our way up a little bit later this month when we have a lot kind of going on in that area. We'll be visiting Maryland. We'll be going to see my parents. A lot of things going on towards the end of the month. So it just made sense for us to kind of push that back and not rush. And I'm just grateful to be at the home base for more than a week. It's refreshing, but I'm going to be ready to travel soon. It's kind of catching that breath, but getting back out there and traveling. And we did some fun traveling too. We went to New Orleans together to celebrate our 8-year wedding anniversary and ate our way through the town, did a lot of walking, met up with some friends, and it was just an amazing time. So no regrets on the traveling, but it is good to be home.
Yeah, it's like that, the wave, it goes up, like lots of traveling, and then when you're back home, it's like, oh, it feels so good to be grounded back home and like normal rhythms for us, and to like, you know, fill our cup with like just the safety net here and the comfort, and then to go back out in the wild, the wild adventure of the unknown when traveling. And so many things can happen, you know.
Actually got some yard work done too.
Yeah, but
Had
New
to put
Orleans
some lime down.
That's not exciting to talk about. Let's just talk about New Orleans, because that was just epic.
It was awesome.
I feel like there was a couple days while we got to play with each other for like 5 days, which was unheard of. So fun. But there was times we looked at the watch, like, and we're just like, oh, it's 12. Man, we got a lot accomplished.
Yeah.
Like,
we've already walked 5 miles and had our coffee and ate a big meal. Yeah.
It just felt like, even though we didn't do a lot, we did a lot of aimless wandering in like gardens and parks without anyone else's agenda but our own. So love Lucille, but it was so nice not to be told, I want to go here. Hey, I want to go here. It's kind of like, yeah, we're driving now, Lucille. You're with Gammy, and we get to decide how our day goes.
Exactly. And that was awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, good to be home. Good to be back at this podcast and ready to talk about the kitchen.
Yes.
Let's throw the kitchen sink at it, Chili.
The really cool thing about the really cool thing, I see what you did there. The really cool thing about this series is that, you know, I was feeling like a big sense of purging this month. For some reason, the theme that came to me this month in my planner was just like purge. And I'm like, what better way to purge and simplify and then kind of go with the topics we talk about on the podcast. So recently I've been purging and looking through the kitchen. And I think the kitchen is such a, I don't know, maybe heavy's the word. It's like a heavy spot to cover. Like, it's so loaded because I think the kitchen is the heart of the home. It's the pulse of the family.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
At least in our family, it is.
Yes. Like, if the kitchen is unwell and unsettled and cluttered, then I am unwell and unsettled and distracted. And I'm not as focused because I'm worrying about putting away the mess, cleaning up the mess. And that's where most of the mess happens. It's a glorious thing and I'm grateful for it, but it does drive me nuts when I see it out. Like, it just affects me. And I wanted just to dive into like just taking inventory of like what we have and finding our version of enough and kind of just sharing that process, what it looks like for us. Yeah. So did you want to share anything else before I get started?
I'm glad you picked up on my throwing the kitchen sink at it. That's first of all.
I'm doing better at listening at your jokes and acknowledging
my
them.
subtle jokes. No,
They're good.
They're not even great jokes.
You're such a whisk taker, Nick.
Oh, God. But I think you're right. I think there's a lot of things in the kitchen that tend to be either out or they get lost, but they're taking up space and you're trying to find space for the things that are out. And so it can get a little overwhelming, and finding a way to simplify that can certainly simplify the chaos, the madness, whatever you want to call it, and bring on a sense of calm. And so that's just something that, you know, we've been working on for a long time. We keep practicing. We've simplified greatly ever since we started this podcast, even before we started this podcast, and we're still finding ways to simplify things. So I just think that it's something that you just got to keep practicing. And I know we keep saying that in a lot of the different episodes that we do, but it is a practice and you got to continue on doing it.
Yeah. And you can totally make it fun. Like, I don't know. This process to me, I think it gets more fun the less overwhelmed you are. So in the beginning, 100% overwhelmed. Like, holy shit, why do we have all this stuff? I don't even use this. Like, you kind of still have those conversations with you, but it's just like, instead of saying it to like 50 things, it's like, oh, I've said it to 5. And
right.
It's way less, stressful now. So it gets better, folks. Just letting you know.
Yeah, it does.
Feels
it takes
really
time.
heavy in the beginning, but it just gets so much lighter and lighter and lighter and easier, I think. And I think as human nature, like, we crave different, we crave new, we crave exciting. So I think purging and decluttering and going through things, yearly, seasonally, however you see fit, is great for just having space to bring in new and exciting things in your life that you want to try. I know, like, our way of cooking, we are starting to get into more, I guess I'll say, ancestral ways of preparing meals. So lately I've been really wanting to experiment with like fermentation. So that's going to mean I'm going to have to start collecting jars and keeping them and washing them. And that wasn't like that in the past. So now it's like my needs and desires and ways of nourishing my body are looking different. So the kitchen's going to be changing slightly with how we're evolving with, things that we're putting into our body. So I think it's important just to revisit the kitchen often, especially if there's this huge shift in how you're taking care of your body. So there's some things that have been changing and evolving because we're bringing in new and exciting ways of preparing food.
Yeah, and they're going to continue to change and evolve. We've got some wish list items that we need to bring back into the kitchen, but we need to get rid of some things in the kitchen before we can start bringing those other things in. So it's all very intentional, very mindful as far as like our thought process on this. And yes, we are experimenting with fermentation, so that does require some different materials, so to say, so like glass jars and whatnot.
The kitchen scale I'm finally using now. I'm really excited.
Oh, I didn't realize how to measure my liver.
Well, I didn't realize how scientific
beef
fermentation, beef liver, how I guess exact and scientific the fermentation is, like measuring the amount of the water in the vegetables, and there's a formula they give you to how much salt you added. So I'm learning a lot. It's like against the grain on how I function. I'm more like a throw things together. So it's been kind of fun to experiment with new ways of preparing food to like nourish our bodies. I'm excited.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to tear down the refrigerator and freezer, but I know you're more using the utensils. I'm a basic, pots and pans, spatulas, and basically that's it. And the grill.
What do you mean tear down the fridge and the refrigerator?
Just talk about it.
Oh, I've never heard that expression.
We're going to tear it down. Break it down.
I was like, I've never heard that expression.
You're just like, what are you going to get ready to do with the refrigerator and the freezers?
Like, what's happening?
Chili, we're going to start burying our food.
Fantastic.
Yes. Ancestral.
Oh, man. Good stuff, babe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I'll get started. So I did this. I don't know if it's weird. It was kind of fun. And it was kind of like this aerial view of our kitchen. So I actually counted how many cabinets and drawers we had.
I'm actually curious about this because I don't know that.
Because I think when you see the numbers, you're like, hot damn, we have a lot of storage. And if we can't fit everything we need and use every day in that amount, like there's something going on that we have a problem we need to address of hoarding or, especially if it's not being used. So anyway, cabinets. We have 20 cabinets.
I was just getting ready I was counting them in my head.
We have 5 drawers.
Okay.
One really large pantry closet. And I'm painting a picture for our listeners too, so they can just get an idea of like the storage in our kitchen. We've got 1 fridge, unless Nick's tearing it down.
We have 20 cabinets or 20 shelves?
20 cabinets. I'm counting the doors. There's 1 door to that side of the cabinet. There's another door to that side of the cabinet. So that's how I counted. I counted cabinet doors. Let's put it that way.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I think.
I counted cabinet doors. 1 handle, 1 door. Okay, babe?
I gotcha.
All right. We have 1 dishwasher. We have 1 oven. We have 1 sink. And we also have 1 shelf that we use in our closet, in our linen closet, and that's where we store kitchen towels. I wanted to include that because we do have kitchen stuff in our linen closet that I consider part of the kitchen.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's the inventory, like how big our kitchen is, how much storage we have. Any questions, Nick?
No, I'm with you on this one.
Okay. So yeah, I guess the first thing that, I don't know, part of me wants to go over this. There was a list on the Minimalist Mom podcast. And I think that's going to help direct the conversation on what we have and kind of how did we design it. But before I do that, if you haven't listened to the simplification episode about toys that we did 2 weeks ago, I found this kind of process with toys that I used with the kitchen as well. I think before you simplify or purge anything, we need to identify, I call it the 4 Ps: purpose, purge, prep, and then play. I think they all can be aligned to multiple things of decluttering or simplifying. Sure. So for the purpose, I think it's important that before we start purging or getting rid of anything, I think it's important to find what is the whole purpose that we see as our kitchen. Some things that came to mind for me was nourishment, gathering, community, play happens in our kitchen, conversation, experimentation, creative work. Lucille and I are drawing constantly in there. Relaxation, ease, and it's a dance zone. those, all of those amazing purposes is how we use our kitchen.
Yeah. And I guess the reason why it can be so many things is because we do not have a kitchen table.
Possibly. And there's a lot of space. Like our counters are empty. Like we don't keep a lot. And I think that's really important. That provides an immediate sense of ease to my brain is the fact that we keep our counters almost bare, and our island, besides Lucille's art projects and stuff, like it's pretty bare, which just immediately when you see that, it's just like clean open space. Automatically I feel at ease. So knowing that the purpose of our kitchen is we want to be able to host and have friends over and eat and nourish our bodies and just have space for experimenting like with new ways of cooking and nourishment and play with Lucille. This is kind of like the driver for why we simplify our kitchen as well, because we want space for all of those things to happen. And something else that I didn't think about until we did the toys episode is that I think it's important now that Lucille's 4 that the more our kitchen is simplified, the easier she will have to access these things and actually put them back, which is more important. Yeah. She knows where their home is, and there's no confusion about where things go. Like, it's not chaotic and crazy where she's just like, she's overwhelmed. Because if I'm overwhelmed with my kitchen, of course my daughter is not going to be able to help us in the kitchen as well. And that's important that I want her to be a part of the family and cleaning up and preparing meals. So I think it helps all of us in that arena.
Absolutely.
Okay, so there's this list where she has on, and this was on her Instagram, on things to purge, and I think we can kind of discuss all of these. Number 1, she has excess mugs. I think there's a lot of people who have a shit ton of coffee mugs.
Yeah, we were those people. We had a ton 100%. Of coffee mugs.
And I think the most houses we go in, we see everyone's collection of mugs. And it's not good or bad, it's just that we've let go of a lot of coffee mugs to now we only have, I think maybe 6 mugs.
Yeah.
And it's provided so much more space because ceramic mugs take up space, man.
That's true.
And we don't have them stacked anymore because there's not as many. So like we can kind of display them out and see each individual one, which is really nice. It's kind of like a little display case now when you open it up. It's not like hordes
we definitely have a cabinet dedicated to coffee where we have our coffee cups, we have our burr grinder, and we have our beans and our French press.
Yeah, and I think
boom, voila.
I think that lends itself to the fact that when it comes to small appliances, I did take an inventory of that because I know small appliances can take up a lot of space in people's kitchens. When it comes to small appliances, let me go back to my list so I don't leave anything out. Okay, this is what we have right now. We have a toaster, we have a kettle, we have an emulsifier, a small blender. It's kind of like a bullet almost. We have our coffee burr grinder, and we also have a hand mixer, and that's it.
Yeah.
We also have a slow cooker. I'm sorry, I guess that counts. And almost all of those appliances fit inside our cabinets. That's a game changer when you can put all of your appliances in a cabinet, out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, no pressure cookers or Instapots or air fryers for us. Like that, we don't have any of those small things there. We don't have a toaster oven or anything like that. We just have the simple things that we use often.
Yeah, and I will say the only appliance that does sit out is our kettle, because it's like a beautiful piece of art on our counter, and I love it so much.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only thing that sits out all the time because we use, like, not that we don't use our coffee grinder every day, but I just like, it just looks really appealing sitting out. Like, it's like a decoration on our counter. I love it.
Yeah, it's a nice matte black kettle on a white, not granite, but quartz countertop. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Something else on her list was purging excess worn hand towels or napkins. And I think that's also something that can get out of hand if you don't take inventory on like just old stuff or even stuff that might have been sentimental. And there's a lot of sentimental like towels and stuff that I probably got handed down to me, but it was just like, I was holding on to it for the wrong reasons. I wasn't really using it. It wasn't really efficient at its purpose anymore. So I just had to let them go. Most of them I had to throw away because they had just been worn to
I
death.
had no idea that you had sentimental hand towels.
I used to before, like from my grandmother and stuff. I think it's more of a woman thing.
I just like, oh, this is a towel. I'm gonna dry a dish with it or dry my hands.
Like there's some that were gifts from people, and then eventually like they got so many stains on them they couldn't come out anymore. So I think that can get out of hand. And right now, I think we have like the small basket in our linen closet that we keep probably like 10 kitchen towels.
Which is probably too many when you think about it. Probably only really need 4 because we have one that hangs on the oven. We have one that hangs on the dishwasher bar.
Yeah.
And then we have 8 that are in storage.
Could be.
You know, and you know, you can always, if you have to wash it, you replace them with 2.
Yeah.
And I think that's about it. Because we wash pretty often.
Well,
Because we also have, we don't use throwaway napkins. We have
cloth napkins.
So those
I think
have
we
to
have
get
about
washed
8
too.
of those. Yeah. So I mean, that number may go down right now. It's fine, but I think as they get worn, I will get rid of them, and maybe I won't replace them. Maybe I'll just see how we do with less, which is always fun.
Yeah, until they get all worn out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Something she had on her list to purge is appliances you never use. So
We had to do that.
I'm trying to think what is something we had that
Pressure cooker.
the pressure cooker we gifted to my sister. It was a lovely gift for my mom, but honestly, I never used it. I always loved the slow cooker, and I never felt like I was in a rush that I had to. And I've heard people that swear by it and they use it all the time. And that's the whole point of this conversation. I think that's amazing. If you use it, keep it. If you don't, like use it, if you don't use it, lose it.
If you bust it out one time a year.
Yeah, I think part of me felt guilty because my mom gifted it to me and I felt like I should hold on to it. But then I had the conversation with my mom, like, hey, Mom, this was an amazing gift. I really don't use it. I thought I would. And I think a lot of us had that intention, like, oh my God, we're going to use this so much. And I think we just have to get over the fact that, like, my intentions may have been great, but in reality, I didn't use it. So finding it a new home, selling it, gifting it to someone else. My sister has used it a couple times. It was probably been used way more with her than it has with me. So I'm excited that she's getting use out of it. And it's one less large item that takes up space in her cabinet. So it provides space for new things coming in that, you know, we're actually using.
Yeah. No, that's the one item that I recall. And I think we've had some other kind of like blending items that we've kind of gotten rid of. Now, I think we used them more in the past, but we're not cooking that way anymore. So there are some things that just were very easy to let go.
Yeah. Something else she had on her list was gadgets that only serve one purpose. So something recently that I purged is our garlic mincer. I haven't used it since we moved here. I just use a large knife.
Yeah.
And I do it that way.
I prefer larger pieces of garlic anyway.
We did have a yolk separator. We got rid of that because that was its only purpose.
What is a yolk separator?
It's where you crack an egg inside the tool and you swirl it around so that way only the yolk stays in there and the whites go out.
Yeah, I didn't even know we had one of those things.
We did. I got rid of it a long time ago. I recently got rid of our apple core /slicer. I always just cut an apple, and Lucille's been like really into just eating a half an apple now, so I just cut it in half and give it to the homegirl and she does her thing. Yeah. So it's one less gadget that just was collecting dust. I'm trying to think of anything else, but there's so many gadgets out there that they're like, this will be great for this one thing, and then that's it. Like, it just takes up space and I don't use it. Again, to each their own. If you have one of those amazing gadgets and you use it all the time, that is phenomenal, but they were not serving a purpose.
Do we still have that thing where you roll the garlic in it?
I threw that out.
Good for you.
Because it was my mom. Again, it took me a while because my mom gave it to me. It was like this tube, a cylinder tube that was like rubber, and you put the garlic in it and you roll it around to get the skin off. And I'm like, I can just do this with a knife or my hand. So I love that there's people out there that come up with these amazing ideas, but again, I can do it very easily without a gadget. Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. I completely forgot.
I was like, I don't think I've seen that thing in there in a while.
I didn't even put it in like a to-go box. I mean, like a donation box. I was like, I'm just throwing this thing out. Yeah. Okay, something else she had on her list was unnecessary spices. So doing a spice purge is liberating. Oh my God, when you see all the spices.
Especially when you just put salt on your stuff.
Well, we use a lot of salt and just pepper now. But when you just like see all the spices that you've been collecting over the years and like don't use it, it's just so liberating when you're like, I'm going to empty this spice out and I'm going to recycle the glass container. I'm going to save it, whatever you want to do. But there were so many spices that were collecting over the years that I never used, or I might have used for one thing. And I'm like, it's probably expired now and I'm never going to use it again. So
yeah,
it's great now. Now we have a drawer where we put our spices down flat so I can see. I had this beautiful presentation of when I opened the drawer.
it is quite amazing.
Of all the spices that I have right away. There's not like piled behind each other. They're not like in the corner of the cabinet. And it's a great boundary for me. Like if the spice doesn't fit in this drawer, I can't get that spice, or like, I got to get rid of something else. So I think the drawer is like a great reminder of like, don't go overboard with your spices, Jillian. Like this is enough. And it is. It's plenty of space.
Oh, yeah.
Something else she had was Tupperware without a match. And something I saw on a video, and I forgot the name of the girl. There was a video I saw, and it was about minimalism and simplifying the kitchen. She had all of her Tupperware with lids on them, and that's how she stored them.
Yep.
Because it takes up more space, which is genius, because if it takes up more space, the less Tupperware you own. It's kind of like probably counterintuitive for how some people are thinking. Well, that doesn't seem very efficient. Well, it helps you hold on to less Tupperware, which means you have to be more efficient with your way of eating so you don't have as many leftovers.
Also, I will say that because you and I don't go into the office to work, that we also can stand to have less Tupperware in the house because we're not pre-making our lunches or anything like that. Like the Tupperware that we're using is truly for leftovers. And it's usually done the next day. Like we're eating the leftovers the next day. Very rarely do the leftovers make it more than 2 or 3 days in the refrigerator. And then, we have plenty of Tupperware.
Yeah.
Glassware, whatever we want to call it.
But I did see that correlation. Like the more containers you had to put stuff in, the more would be in the fridge, and then you would forget about it because it would clutter the fridge up. So I think the less storage you have, which sounds weird, but if you find the just right enough amount to like house your leftovers or whatever you need it, and then that's it, it's kind of changed the way our fridge is. So I'm grateful for that, because I remember things that would get in the back and get hidden in like small things. And that's another thing. We don't have like super tiny ones anymore, which could be hidden in the fridge. And if we do, it's like maybe for Lucille's snacks, but for the most part, they're pretty big sized Tupperware, so we can see it visibly in the fridge and like eat it, or
And we try to use glass versus whatever the stuff is, plastic or whatever that is.
We still have plastic.
We still do, but we try to use glass when possible.
Yeah. So that was a fun realization. Like the less Tupperware, the less clutter in your fridge. So that was cool. And something else she had on her list was fancy dishes and silverware. We got rid of any antique things that were just sitting there and weren't getting used. Trying to think. We have 4 large plates, like 3 smaller plates.
Well, one broke, so there was 4, but now there's 3.
4 small bowls and then 4 like plate bowls. And I like to say we can get through like 2 days worth of eating, and then we run the dishwasher.
Yeah.
I know everyone's rhythms are different. For us, we don't run it every day. We like to do it like every 2 days. So it's enough dishes for us to eat all 3 meals 2 times. And then, then it's about time for us to clean it. And same with silverware. We have enough silverware where we can get through, 6 meals, and then it's time to run it. So I guess it depends on like, I don't know. I think 2 days is a great rhythm for us, but I know there's some people who may be like, I want to do it daily.
Well, there's 3 of us in the house. There's some families of 4 or 5 where you have to run the dishwasher every day.
Yeah, and then I've heard people who like don't even use their dishwasher, like some minimalism videos. They just have enough for their family, and it forces them to do the dishes right then and put them away, so that way there's nothing in the sink, which I think is amazing as well.
Or if you're Jilly Willy, before Nick Kaselniak comes into our life and uses the dishwasher for dog treats.
We didn't grow up using the dishwasher. My mom had no idea how to use it, so we never used it.
That was the craziest thing I ever saw. Walking into your house and I was starting to put stuff in the dishwasher, and there are a bunch of dog treats in there.
I'm sure there are other people out there who may have have done the same thing.
I'm sure you're not alone, baby.
Okay, something else that she had on her list were flyers and takeout menus. I know this can probably get out of hand, and it used to be pretty crazy at my old house. We had a big drawer folder.
We had a drawer. We had a dedicated drawer of flyers and menus and all that good stuff, and coupons.
Yep. We don't really order a lot of takeout these days, so we don't need menus. And if we did, everything's like on your phone now, so it just doesn't make sense to like hold on to the physical clutter if we can have access to it digitally, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we really don't have any
No
of that
menus.
anymore.
Nope.
Yeah. Excuse me. Something else she had on her list was random unused sauce and condiments. And I thought this was funny because it made me think of when we used to keep like old soy sauces and like ketchup packets from like all the takeout. And again, I think the more takeout, the more that can be an issue.
Yeah.
But we don't really do takeout much these days. But if we did, probably be throwing it out because number one, the ketchups most likely have corn syrup in them. And I'm just like, yeah, get this out of my house.
Yep.
So yeah, we really don't have that issue, but I can see how that can get out of hand.
We've dwindled down on the number of condiments that we have in here. Like, there's barely any.
I know. I guess when you simplify your way of eating, it simplifies the fridge and everything too.
It's my favorite thing.
Yeah, which I'm sure we'll be talking about
momentarily.
Yeah. Okay. The last thing she had on here was anything expired in the fridge or pantry, which I know.
That's always a tough one, especially if you have a lot of stuff in the fridge. Like, that was part of the issue why we had so many soy sauces that expired 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. Because there was just so much in the fridge.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you kind of have to, when you have that much in the fridge, you have to really make a concerted effort to, like, once a month say, okay, let's go through everything. But, once you really kind of simplify your diet and then simplify what you're intaking in, that makes that job a lot easier.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, and so here is some silver linings of simplifying. If you go through your pantry and you find some things are expired, for instance, like dry goods, I found some rice that I was like, we haven't been really eating rice these days, and it had already been opened, so it's not like I'm going to give it to anybody. But I was like, hey, this rice would be freaking awesome for kids to play with, like sensory.
Yep.
So I put it in a little container for Lucille and put like a measuring cup in there and stuff, and her dinosaurs, and she plays with it now, and it's cute seeing her go to it like when she needs it. Like, I'm sure it's even therapeutic for adults. Like, I'll just go there and like rake it with my fingers. I'm like, this feels good. But we've also done it with like the chickpeas. The chickpeas are really, really, really old. And I put them in Lucille's kitchen in like her little coffee containers, and she pretends like she's pouring things and mixing things, and she absolutely loves it.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a cool silver lining on finding expired dry goods is use it for kids, or find a parent who could be like, who may want to use it just for play and not for eating purposes. I'm trying to think if there's anything I haven't covered. Oh, as far as cups, I know cups can get out of hand quickly.
Cups can get out of hand.
Because you can get them for free from like breweries and wineries.
Souvenirs at the ball game.
Yeah. I think we are constantly letting go of cups if we do get it. Like right now, we probably should go through them because we've acquired some really cool brewery ones, and it's like, where are we going to put this? Do we keep it? Do we hold on to it? And we got some cider glasses. And so I think doing a cup simplifying declutter thing is probably the most, I don't know, I think that's the most frequent thing I think we have to do, just because I think just cups in general can get out of hand because it can be a really easy gift or giveaway. Mm-hmm. And also I think, I don't know, we probably talked about this before, but mason jars have been a game changer.
Yes, mason jars are awesome.
For simplifying so many things. I can use mason jars to drink out of. I can use them to store leftovers in. I can use them to put snacks in for Lucille, like apple slices. Like, mason jars can be used for so many things, and drinking glasses. So that's kind of helped us pare down what we have as well, because most of our drinking glasses are mason jars, which leads me to think we probably can get rid of some of our quote unquote like cocktail glasses, because we could basically use mason jars if we wanted to.
Sure.
I don't know. You're giving me that look. I don't know. I'm just thinking of like how to declutter that cabinet even more if we wanted to. We don't have to, but that is an option.
We could.
Yeah, but we don't have to.
We could. It's about the presentation of the alcohol.
I know. I agree. No, I agree. It's always nice.
It's not overwhelming.
No. Yeah. Like our coupe glasses, we
have 2 coupe glasses. We have 4, why can't I think of it?
Stemless wine glasses.
We have 4 stemless wine glasses, and then we have like 3 beer glasses and 4 rocks glasses.
Yeah, rocks glasses.
Yeah.
And the rest are mason jars.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they all fit in one cabinet. I think eventually, if it got out of hand and they couldn't fit in there anymore, we'd be like, all right, we got to
Yeah,
let some
no,
go.
no. I mean, we're not adding to it, so
No.
yeah.
Again,
It does well with hosting and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Again, just like use the physical space as like a boundary for your limits if you have a hard time and it can get out of control. It's like only cups can fit in this cabinet. And then if it can't, it's like, all right, it's time to go through it. So it's kind of like a nice physical boundary for myself too.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Ooh. Oh, and the cool thing about is if you have cabinets that are empty, like you can use them to store your phone chargers in. You can use them to put like pencils and notepads in for like making notes. Like there's so much more flexibility with using your cabinets for alternative things outside of like kitchen stuff, which can be
We
really
got
awesome.
so much space in our cabinets. Like they're not even most of our cabinets, besides the glasses, the plates, and the coffee, our other cabinets are a half full.
Yeah. Like now I have space for our fermentation stuff because I just went through our corner cabinet. And now I was like, man, I haven't
I
been
didn't
in
even
here.
realize we had a corner
Right?
cabinet. I don't even know, is there anything in there?
There was like baking pans and like the hand mixer, which I do use. The emulsifier is in there for when I make soups, but it takes up way little space. But I did get rid of like we had like 5 pie pans. I'm like, man, I never make pies.
Yeah.
So I kept 2 pie pans and I got...
store-bought pie up in here.
No, we don't even get pie that often.
I
And
know.
if we do, we just go to really delicious places in Charlottesville and get their pie.
That's what I'm saying.
But I got rid of like 3 pie pans. I got rid of like baking dishes that I was just holding on to. I finally got rid of that. And I got rid of, and here's the other thing. If there's something that you're like, I might use this, I give you the challenge to use it that day. Like for instance, Lucille and I found a mini donut pan. I have a big donut pan and I have a mini donut pan. Lucille found the mini one and was like, let's make donuts. I'm like, all right. So we made donuts. It was a pain in the ass to get those little donuts out. And I'm sure it's not super fun to clean either. That's another thing. Think about how
Actually,
much...
it wasn't that bad to clean.
Damn it, Nick. Well, it was a pain in the ass to get the donuts out.
And let me ask you a question.
Oh, no.
How often are you going to make donuts?
Well, I got rid of it. That's the whole point.
The mini one?
Yes. The thing is, like...
Good job.
If you think you want to hold on to it, use it that day and see... Did I really enjoy this? Do I think I'm going to do it again? And if the answer is no, then get rid of it, folks.
Yeah.
I was like, I have one. I love the bigger donuts. Turn out so much better, and they're way easier to get out. The little donuts they're cute. They were just frustrating to get out. And I already have a big donut pan, so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna keep the big one. I'm gonna get rid of the small
I
one.
prefer deep fried donuts anyway.
Sourdough donuts.
Yep.
Yum. So that was another revelation. Like, if you think you're gonna use it, I challenge you to do it that day and see how it feels. Did you really want to do it again?
Yeah.
They're like, no.
That's a great point.
Thank you.
Do you even want to get it out of the drawer? Then no, just get it out to get rid of it.
Don't feel guilty. Just let it go.
Yep.
Man, we covered a lot.
did.
Oh, we even have a drawer to put like Ziploc bags, aluminum foil, like parchment paper.
Yep.
So there's even place to store all of that, which is great.
It's got our oven mitts in it too.
Our oven mitt, like literally anything we need for the kitchen is in a drawer. Which
And then we have a grill cabinet.
yeah, we even have space to put like grill tools, which is awesome. So basically, if you probably get the point, like our counters are mostly clear except if we have dirty dishes from like making a meal, but it's so refreshing to my mind and my body, and even like to cook. It makes the process of creating something or experimenting, preparing anything by myself or with Lucille so much more joyful and blissful and exciting, because I'm not cringing at like the mess and all the clutter that's out, and if I'm gonna have space, and you know, all of the things involving cooking. So for me, it brings me a lot of joy,
Yeah,
and it's easy to take care of.
it is.
I think if it's
Very easy.
if your kitchen
it's not
isn't-
overwhelming.
if your kitchen isn't easy to take care of, I think that's a great reminder. Like, purge, girl, man, whatever you are, purge.
Preach. I think we covered
Right?
all the bases there, Jilly.
So too, I feel
Yeah.
like I've been rambling for quite some time, but there's
No.
just so much going on in the
I mean,
kitchen.
you are definitely more involved in the kitchen than I am, and it's because I don't bake, but I do a lot of cooking. Most of my cooking's on the grill or on the stove.
Would you say the kitchen is more approachable for you as someone?
Of course,
the male?
because I mean, really, all I need to know where the pots and pans are. I know where the spatulas are. I know where the plates are and the cups are, and that's all I really need. Like, I don't need any cool widgets or gadgets or whatever. I drink my coffee black, so I don't need any of that kind of stuff, you know. So yeah, for me,
Talking about my coffee frother.
yeah,
I love that thing.
I know
I
you
use
do.
that every day.
Yeah, you do. Get good use out of it. But no, for me, simple is good.
Oh, you bring up another good point. I wanted to mention the pans. Before, we would have a lot of duplicates of the same size pans. Now we only have
Not up in here.
one size pan, like one large skillet, one cast iron, one big pot, one small pot. Like, we used to have like 2 or 3 small pans, 2 large skillets. Like, we would have duplicates, and I was like, why? Because the more we had, the more dishes we would create because it was there and available to use. So
Yep.
that has also been a game changer with just storage, because pans can get out of hand, I think, as well.
Yeah. And we're getting ready to do a purge and replace on those.
Yeah, I'm
going
excited.
going to some stainless steel up in there.
Yeah, wish us luck. I know.
Yeah.
Nonstick is really exciting, but we're excited to go back.
And I
to
just
some
need to get the
stainless.
confidence back to do the old cast iron.
I know.
That doesn't smoke up the house, because we have very sensitive smoke detectors. If I can get that to work, we may just need to start over with a new cast iron skillet, but we'll figure it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, keep your kitchen simple. Causes a lot less stress and anxiety. I
Ease
can
the
tell you that
tension,
much.
baby.
That's right. Jilly, you got any resources for our listeners today?
I do.
I mean, we just went over one giant resource in this entire episode.
I hope that made sense. I know
Yeah.
it's probably easier when you can have a visual, but I hope we described it well enough. And if not, hit us up. We can do a video, a little tour of our kitchen if you want to see a better idea. I know we
should.
We didn't really cover the pantry at all. But I can always do a video of that. That's a lot of things. Like, it's not a lot,
It's
but
not a lot, because
No.
we don't store a lot of stuff anymore. Our shelves are bare.
they really are. We just
Our
have,
refrigerator is bare. The only thing that has a lot of shit in it is the freezer, because that's where all our meats are.
it's so true.
It's crazy.
Our
I
pantry's
love this
like,
shit.
it looks like just bone broth everywhere. We still have like oatmeal and like dried fruit for Lucille and
Carnivore crisp.
carnivore crisps. Yeah, but it is pretty simple. I'm still getting used to the fact that our diet's a lot simpler. So it's still weird to me, like, oh, I don't have to have all the things, which is like, this is kind of cool.
It's so fucking cool.
It
I
really-
love it.
it really is.
I'm geeking out over this whole thing. I just love it.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So I found this blog post that was from simplelionheartlife.com, and it was all about simplifying the kitchen. And they had 6 things, I think it's 6 things to kind of help ease the tension with simplifying.
Ease the tension,
I'm
baby.
just going to keep saying that. Ease the tension, baby. Okay. Number 1, let go of duplicate items
Check.
if you're not using them. Again, we have a lot of mason jars because we use them, but you know, to each their own. Number 2, let go of things you don't use regularly or love.
Check.
Number 3, let go of excess dishes and glasses.
Check.
And it was funny, she had in parentheses, high impact item. Like, this is a high impact on like clearing out your kitchen. I think it's really easy, and dishes can take up a lot of space.
Yes, they can.
Yeah. Number 4, honestly evaluate small appliances.
Check.
Again, find your version of enough, keep the appliances you use, and let go of the other ones. Number 5, clear off your countertops.
Check.
In parentheses, high impact. And I will vouch for that.
100%.
So
From
much
going
better.
to having stuff on your countertops to not having anything on your countertops is night and day.
It is. And then
It's
you
good for your mental health.
preach it, Nick.
It is.
All right. And the last one is clear the front of your fridge. And this was interesting.
Check.
They're like, you could have a lot of things that can collect on your fridge. They said just clear it off and see how it feels for a couple days, just to get the effect. So there are some like of Lucille's artwork on there. So I'm going to clear it off just to see how it feels, how the look of the kitchen is.
I'm curious to see if she says anything.
I'm sure she's going to notice.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, that's
I need
what
to
I
clean
got.
that stainless steel anyway.
You
It's
do.
a little
It makes
printy.
that's
It's a
the
little
thing.
printy.
It makes cleaning easier.
Absolutely.
Like, who doesn't
That's my
want
job.
that?
Clean the stainless steel.
And here's another thing I think about when I'm buying anything for the kitchen. I think about how long do I want to clean this? Is
Oh,
it something?
definitely.
I remember when I bought this gigantic spiralizer that I saw. It was a motherfucker to clean, man. It was not. It was painstaking to clean it. I'm like, I got rid of it
I
the
hated
next
that
time.
thing.
I know.
Hated it.
So yeah, think about like if I bring this into my life, how much time is it going to take out of my life?
Yeah.
Is that worth it?
Check out all the nooks and crannies in them bitches.
Oh yeah, that's something sometimes you don't always think about until you like start simplifying. You're like, no, that's not worth it.
Yeah. All right, Jilly. That on the resources.
That's it.
How about that quote of the day?
Is this a long episode?
It's pushing one of our longest ones
Well,
since the early days.
thanks for hanging out. We're still
Yeah.
with us, y'all. All right, the
Y'all
quote
are
of the
champs.
day. The quote of the day. Intentionally assess what you have and decide if you need, use, or love it.
I like it. Very applicable.
Very applicable.
Applicable. Applicable.
Both sound.
Tomato, tomato.
Tomato, tomato.
All right. And your take action challenge is throw out all your shit in your kitchen. Seriously, Jilly, what is it?
Just purge things that aren't serving a purpose in your kitchen. It's pretty simple. I think we keep rambling the same thing. Yeah. Purge unpurposeful
You
things
can
in your
do it.
kitchen.
You can do it. We're here to support you. If you need help, give us a shout on the gram.
Indeed.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode here, folks. If you like this episode, please do us a favor and help us spread the message. You can do this by writing a review or simply by sharing this episode with a friend. And remember, sharing sparks a conversation, conversation leads to action, and action is how we're able to live a happy and intentional as hell lifestyle. We want to thank you all for listening today, and we will see you again next week.
See y'all later.